Hi, I'm Chad with Move for Guitar. This lesson is from our series Guitar Chords for Beginners. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to play an open Dsus2 chord. First off, if you'd like to get the diagram for this chord, the chord chart, you can click the link on the screen and it'll take you to an eGuide that you can download for free. And this eGuide includes this chord as well as a whole bunch of other beginner chords that are really useful to learn. It has really common beginner chords as well as less common ones. And not only do I show you how to play the chords, give you diagrams for those, but I show you how to put the chords together into chord progressions. So it includes a whole bunch of chord progressions that I have taken from the chords in the eGuide and put them together in sequences so you can see how they go together in a musical situation, and it'll also give you ideas of how to put these chords together into your own chord progressions. So if you'd like to get that eGuide for free, just click the link on the screen and you can download that. Here's an open Dsus2 chord. And this is a really useful beginner chord that you can use in a lot of situations. It'll be in a lot of songs, or you can use it to write your own songs, and it sounds really nice. And another nice thing about it, it's a pretty easy chord to play because you're only fretting 2 notes. So it's pretty simple to play, especially if you know other chords that have more notes fretted. This will be really easy to you to get down, I'm sure. So there's 2 ways you can finger it. There's actually 3 ways you can probably finger it, but there's 2 that I would say are the best. And the first is like I just played it, which is your second finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And with this chord, you start your strum on the 4th string. So you're strumming from the 4th string through the 1st string, so the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd. You're not strumming the 5th or the 6th string. And that's the trickiest part about this chord, just like with a lot of D chords, open D chords, is that you have to start your strum and be accurate to hit that 4th string without hitting the 5th string too much. You can hit the 5th string a little bit, but if you hit it too much, it's going to get really muddy if you do that. And with a lot of chords, it's like if you're just trying to avoid the 6th string, you can usually block it out with your thumb or with another finger. But with this chord, there's no good way to block out this 5th string. So you're just going to have to get really accurate with your strumming. Like I said, you can hit a little bit, it won't matter too much. So that's the first way to fret it. The other way is to replace your 2nd finger with your 1st finger. So it'll be like this. So your 1st finger would be on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and your 3rd finger would stay where it was on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So that's a pretty common way to fret this as well, and it just depends on what chords are before and after. That'll decide how you fret this chord, or any chord really. So you just have to be aware what's the easiest transition from one chord to the next. And there is other way you could fret this, but it's not very common, probably not very comfortable, and that would be with your 1st finger and 2nd finger like this. But I don't really recommend learning that. It kind of turns your hand a lot, and it might be something you do when you're more advanced and are reaching for other notes higher up. But for right now, I'd suggest you either learn it with your 1st and 3rd or your 2nd and 3rd, or learn it both ways. And with this chord, you've got to make sure that you're really on the tips of your fingers and not bent back here at this knuckle, this joint at all. Otherwise, you're going to block out strings. And you got to really make sure you're not touching the 4th string with your 2nd finger, or 1st finger if you're doing it that way. And you got to really make sure you're not touching the 1st string with your 3rd finger or with your hand at all. So if your hand's touching the neck at all, you got to make sure you're not touching that 1st string. So that'll be the hardest thing about this chord, is trying to avoid muting out the open strings and trying to not hit the 5th string when you're strumming. But as far as fretting this chord, it's pretty simple. And make sure when you're fretting it that you're up in the frets. You're not way back here in the frets like this, because anything you fret on the guitar, you want to be up in the fret towards the front fret wire, because it takes a lot less pressure to get the notes to ring out. And that's not possible with every note of every chord, but with this chord it's possible to be up in the fret, not back here. So when you think you have this chord, just strum it. If you hear anything that sounds like that, you just got to go through, adjust your fingers over and over until you can get all the notes to ring out clearly. And like I said, if you like the chord chart for this chord as well as a bunch of other beginner chords, just click the link on the screen and you'll be taken to an eGuide that you can download for free that has just a ton of chords in it that'll be really useful for you to learn as a beginner. So that's an open Dsus2 chord.